Wow. Mariah's birthday will be tonight at midnight. You don't even know, Shannon. You don't even know, like, as if the election cycle wasn't weird enough already. What is going on? What is happening with people? Someone mentioned in chat last night Cambridge Analytica, which is a wild story in itself. I've thought a couple times about trying to put together like a mega show on Cambridge Analytica and what they did, but it'd be a lot of work. I still might do it. I don't know if people would be interested in it or not. Basically, in 2016, Cambridge Analytica stole a bunch of, stole/purchased/had help from Facebook. All of your information, like they could tell what you were afraid of, what you liked, what you enjoyed, when you were going to take a shit, what area you live in, what you buy for groceries, when you go to the grocery. They stole all your fucking personal data with the help of Facebook, and use that to identify all the voters they could potentially flip. And then made a picture of what your moral code looks like and what would it take to make you mad enough to vote, and then use that against you. That's wild. Like, they may have single-handedly hijacked the 2016 election with nothing to do with Russia or anything else. Cambridge Analytica goes deep. Somebody mentioned it in chat last night. It would be a big show. It'd take a ton of research, but damn it. It'd be a good show, I think. Maybe it's better for like a recorded video than a live show. I don't know. They did the same thing for Brexit, it seems like. Brexit was their, like, proving ground. And then Cambridge Analytica identified people they could potentially flip in swing states that actually mattered. And they broke a lot of laws to do it. They did a lot of things that were like frowned upon, but was so new. It wasn't like illegal yet. Facebook basically helped them. Pretty sure Mark Zuckerberg lied about all that, but it was a big deal. And now that system's out there, how do we know they're not doing it every election? You know what I mean? Oh my God, that music timing was perfect. Today is the 18th. Mariah celebrated her birthday with her family and had to pay for her own meal. She told me it's not a big idea or a big deal. That's kind of weird, right? Like, that's weird, Mariah. Tell me it's not a big deal. I'll tell you what's a big deal. This dude.
Hey Daddies, it's me, the Linda Binda from TikTok. I wanted to make this video because I wanted to thank you for watching Cold Beer Confessionals with Will Bird. I think that's just incredible. I've watched a few episodes and I'm just like very intrigued. But you know what I'm most intrigued in is?
What?
Big Daddy's meat stick.
Oh no.
I heard that it's very thick, like a good old German sausage. You know.
We'll ask the chat.
Linda and her coochie loves that. Oh, never mind. Let's not go there. Anyways, I hope you have a good show and enjoy it. as you can. There's a lot of weird things that go on, especially when it comes from the realm of Linda Bindaland. So, enjoy the show. Thanks for watching. Peace out.
Why can't we ask the chat? It is weird. It's weird. Why can't we ask the chat then? No, William. All right, completely hypothetical question here, okay? Completely hypothetical question. That doesn't apply to anybody. That doesn't have anything to do with anybody at all. Let's say it's your birthday, okay? And as part of your birthday, you're asked to like hang out with your family to celebrate your birthday. And as part of this, they decide to go to a restaurant that they often go to for like family things. Wouldn't you think that if your family invited, like you didn't come up with this plan, they called you and said, hey, your birthday's coming up. Let's all go out to eat at this restaurant. Wouldn't you think that somebody would pick up your tab for your birthday? Like even if I didn't know the person and we were just like at the table, just like didn't really know them, but they were part of this group, I'd be like, oh yeah, I'll chip in. It's not a big deal in the fact that it was like fucking $20 or $30, but it's just weird. I don't know. That's just so weird. You just expect it, right? Even if I was just with a group of people that I casually knew from like work and they're like, oh, it's Joe's birthday. And they're like, everybody's going to pitch in $5 to pay for their meal. I'd be like, oh yeah, I don't even know Joe, but it's his birthday. You know, that's weird. Anyways, thank you guys for joining us. We got a weird show today, a very weird show. We were talking in the opening about Cambridge Analytica. That would be a huge show. There's a documentary on Netflix about it, but it's pretty wild. Somebody mentioned it in my YouTube chat the other day, and I thought, I've never really talked about Cambridge Analytica. Basically, Cambridge Analytica is a company that its parent company got its start in information warfare, right? So when you go to like a foreign country, you don't want to drag people out of their house and execute them. Instead, you want to win the hearts and minds. You want to show them that joining Al-Qaeda or, part of the resistance or whatever is bad. Instead, you should do this was good. So that's how they got their start. But then they launched a political wing. And this political wing went to a lot of third world countries and found out that they could do certain things. There was like one country they went to where the voting population is like 50% like African American and like 50% Indian, right? And one of the things they did was they did a social media campaign to target people, the youth vote. And they basically said this target was that voting never changes anything. Fuck voting, it's horrible. It doesn't change anything. We keep voting and we still live shitty lives. So we're opting out. Okay, we're opting out of voting. Now, what they knew was that the African American or the African population, I guess it wouldn't be African American, that the African population would follow. They would jump on the bandwagon and they wouldn't vote. But the Indian population would jump on the bandwagon. They would make videos. They would act like they're not going to vote, but they would ultimately listen to their parents who told them to vote because they have stronger ties to doing what their elders tell them to do. So they basically flipped a fucking election just for that, right? And they started cutting their teeth on stuff like that, other foreign elections, and even Brexit, right? So Brexit was a big thing for Cambridge Analytica, where they found they could identify a certain group of voters. They could tell you everything from the time they went to shit to where they worked, their lunch break, what they were thinking about buying. You ever have that? People disagree with me of this all the time, but you ever have that feeling when you're scrolling through social media and you see an ad and you're like, they have to be listening to me through my microphone. Well, it turns out they're actually not listening to you through your microphone. It's just your data. People don't like to admit that they're predictable. People don't like to admit that they're their actions can be predicted down precisely to a certain amount of time. People don't like to admit that, but it is true. Actually, I saw this from a different side. At the time, I was doing digital marketing on the side for several companies, and at the time, before Cambridge Analytica story broke, we had access to all kinds of fucking data. It would tell us how much they thought you made a year, what brand of car you fucking drove, what your favorite clothing brands were, like all kinds of data on the advertising side as Facebook. And then after Cambridge Analytica broke, they took a lot of that shit away, right? Because they said it was too intrusive. But basically what Cambridge Analytica was they could identify what would make you motivated to vote. And they were targeting a lot of people that weren't going to vote, or that were first-time voters, or that, hadn't voted in a long time and were kind of wishy-washy, or maybe hadn't decided on the candidates. Then they made a moral compass of like, this person seems to be okay with this, but not okay with that. And if we showed them that would make them mad enough to get out and vote, whether it's true or not, right? If we just say it. If we just say that and the other person did it, they will definitely go vote for the other candidate because that makes them so mad, right? It was just crazy. They may have single-handedly swayed the election in 2016 and the Brexit vote, and the amount of data they had, and the fact that they literally had people from Facebook in their building at I think they called it like Team Alamo. They had people in their building that worked for Facebook, and then Mark Zuckerberg goes in front of Congress and is like, we don't know about it. I don't know if we know that I would be unaware that any Facebook employees were part of this. What they did was we had no idea what they were doing. Not only did they make profiles on you, so all they needed you to do was to use Facebook, and then anyone, literally anyone in your friends group, one of your friends signs up for one of those stupid, like, what kind of rock am I? Right? Those profile things where you like type in what you like and you dislike. Anyone signed the waiver for that, and they stole all the information from you and everybody on your friends list. They claimed they had data on like 30 million fucking Americans or some shit. Like, it was insane numbers. Insane. Insane. Yeah, you just had they basically identified the voters they could flip and got them flipped. They shut down in like 2019 or 2020. They shut down. Cambridge Analytica went out of business, but Steve Bannon was a big proponent of it. Another guy called, I don't even know what his first name is. I know his last name is Nix, N-I-X. And literally what employees testified in front of the EU about Brexit, they said that what they were doing under existing European laws was weapons-grade information manipulation, and that if the EU would have known about it, then they all could have been fucking charged. Like, weapons-grade. What you would use in a foreign war to, like, soften up the enemy or to get a fucking rebellion started or whatever. I don't know. It was just crazy. Crazy. Anyways. The reason I fired up this show is because MAGA people are carrying around sperm samples. Let me say that again. MAGA people are carrying around J.D. Vance's sperm. And it's a sample cup, and it says J.D. Vance Full Family Kits. Look at this lady eyeballing it. She might already have a bun in the oven. I'm not sure, but J.D. Vance this is a full grown ass man. It says Trump 24 555. Got the bleeding ear picture, and they're carrying around what's supposed to be a JD Vance. They're trying to own the libs. They're trying to own the libs by carrying around JD Vance full family kit sperm sample. They're owning the fuck out of me. I'll tell you right now. I'm so mad. Someone earlier asked me that if Nick Alvear hurt me, and I said, no, he couldn't hurt me. He only beats women and beats off dudes in prison with his long wet hair. And Nick Alvear 100% would carry around a sperm sample. 100%. Guaranteed. I saw another post today. It says Republicans seem so fixated on what is a woman. Here's a hint. They're the people covering their drinks when you walk into a bar. They don't want to get roofied. That's who they are. They don't want to get roofied.
Of delusional meltdown. He's now posting Donald Trump has reached a whole new level of delusional meltdown.
Oh, this wasn't the right video. It's up here.
AI-generated images of Taylor Swift fans allegedly supporting him. All of these.
Donald Trump is now posting pictures that are AI generated. They're not real. Taylor Swift does not support Trump, right? At all. And there's all these AI pictures of Swifties for Trump.
These are super weird, including this fake news story about Taylor Swift fans flocking to Trump after the ISIS attack on Taylor Swift's concert, and this weird Uncle Sam edit situation.
Taylor wants you to, and he says, I accept.
This is also weird because Trump has publicly acknowledged that Taylor Swift does not support him, and they've run whole segments on Fox News about how Taylor Swift is allegedly some kind of Democratic Party deep agent. I think this is what end-stage desperation might actually look like.
So the photos are real about people like, and a lot of them are probably from Taylor Swift concerts, but the shit on their shirt is just like wrong. But that wasn't even the video I was trying to play. This is the video I was trying to play.
Hi, good morning. Republicans are walking around with cups of what looks like JD Vance's semen to mock Democrats who can't conceive children. Now, I know what you're thinking. Obviously, it was just that one guy, right?
Nope. They both have a cup.
No.
It makes me wonder if the person taking this picture is handing them the cup and saying, okay, here's a picture, and then taking them back. Or do we see a picture of like 50 people in a line, like 10 of them have these sperm samples?
It was not just one guy.
Look how many people have sperm samples.
This is becoming a practice, apparently. Anyway, it looks like Republicans are really owning that weirdo label, and
maybe here's what we can hope for. Here's what we can hope for. If we can get a lifelike rendering of JD Vance's dick, cast that in silicone, right? Because it's not about the sperm, it's about the dick. Then we go back to Trump's wounded ear and we can get them to tape a dick to their ear. That's got to be where this is going.
I'm not awake enough for this. I need to go make coffee.
I'm assuming somebody made them and thought it was like this amazing own and then passed them out at a rally. It says MAGA supporters brandishing JD Vance's sperm bottles is undeniably strange and unsettling. It's also profoundly cruel. They're mocking people who face the painful reality of infertility, millions of Americans, myself included, as well as Tim Walz and his wife. So apparently this is a shot at Tim Walz and his wife. What's especially bizarre that about this is that it seems this to be some strange attempt to attack Walz's masculinity. But let's be clear, your ability to have kids has nothing to do with your masculinity. You aren't less of a man if you need help to start a family. It's symptomatic of the cruelty and lack of empathy at the heart of the Trump and MAGA movement. And while it's likely just a small group of goofballs engaged in this behavior, what troubles me most is that they feel comfortable doing it. They think they're owning the libs with something so bizarre and malicious. I just don't understand it, as I wouldn't wish the pain of infertility on my worst enemy. I just cannot fathom wanting to inflict pain like that. This kind of grievance politics, rooted in cruelty, makes me genuinely sad for these people. You know they aren't happy, and God knows that they're struggling with that. They're struggling with that makes this their outlet. I sincerely hope that one day they realize they're doing more harm to themselves than anyone else. So I guess, did Tim Walz, IVF is personal for Tim Walz and his family. Okay, so I didn't realize this came out. It says, as states and Capitol Hill debate reproductive technology like in vitro fertilization, IVF is a personal topic for Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and his wife Gwen. It's because IVF and similar fertility treatments, Walz says that he has a family of 4. Walz has spoken publicly about he and his wife's struggles with infertility, telling the Star Tribune in March that the couple underwent IVF procedures for 7 years before Gwen became pregnant with their daughter, Hope. This gets personal for me and my family, Walz says Tuesday in a Philadelphia rally alongside Vice President Kamala Harris, just hours after being announced as her running mate. When my wife and I decided to have children, we spent years going through infertility treatments, and I remember praying every night for a call for good news. The pit in my stomach when the phone rang, and the agony when we heard that the treatments hadn't worked. So this wasn't by chance that when we welcomed my daughter into the world, we named her Hope. The Walz family use of fertility treatments also isn't lost on Harris, who highlighted their fertility journey Tuesday. Harris has been vocal advocate of reproductive technology as well as women's access to abortion. Governor Walz and Miss Walz have 2 children, Hope and Gus, and the Harris campaign said in a statement, Governor Walz and Miss Walz struggled with years of fertility challenges and had their daughter Hope through reproductive health care like IVF, further cementing his commitment to ensuring all Americans have access to this care. Walz voiced concern about Americans' access to IVF after the Alabama Supreme Court ruled in February that frozen embryos made through IVF are children under the state's Wrongful Death of a Minor Act. So literally, a lab assistant could fuck up and leave the door open to a refrigerator and be charged with murder of thousands of children. Sparking fears that women's fertility treatments could be placed in jeopardy. Gwen and I have 2 beautiful children because of reproductive health care like IVF. Walz wrote on Facebook after the Alabama Supreme Court ruling, this issue is deeply personal to our family and so many others. Don't let these guys get away with this by telling you they support IVF when their hand-picked judges oppose it. Actions speak louder than words, and their actions are clear. They're bringing anti-science government into your exam room, bedroom, and classroom. IVF has been a topic of debate on Capitol Hill, too. After the Alabama Supreme Court ruling in June, the Senate voted on legislation to make IVF access a right nationally. All but 2 Senate Republicans voted to block the set of bills while still insisting that they support IVF. Then why would you have to block it? Some Republicans called the push for the legislation a political stunt on the part of the Democrats. When the vote took place, Republican Senator Bill Cassidy of Louisiana said the tragic situation in Alabama has been used to fearmonger and scare that IVF is somehow in jeopardy. It could be. If you're saying that those are children and have the same protections as a born child, then yes, it could be in jeopardy. Republican vice presidential nominee J.D. Vance was one of the vast majority of Senate Republicans who voted against the IVF package, something that Harris campaign highlighted. On July 25th, World IVF Day, the Harris campaign said, "Happy World IVF Day to everyone except J.D. Vance." Walz also blessed Vance in a message that day. Even if you've never gone through the hell of infertility, someone you know has. Walz wrote on social media, "When Gwen and I were having trouble getting pregnant, the anxiety and frustration blotted out the sun. J.D. Vance opposing the miracle of IVF is a direct attack on my family and so many others." Jesus. So this is why they're carrying around sperm samples, to own the libs, because Walz and his wife needed help. needed help to conceive children. They're owning you. By the way, Jake Tapper said we can no longer use the word weird, so he's going to have to give us a new word for this. Oh my God, dude. This is some weird stuff. Trump supporters are carrying around cups of J.D. Vance's sperm. Weird Republicans mock Democrats who can't start families with cups of J.D. Vance's semen. What is this image here? Is there actually something like lotion or something in there? It looks like fucking sperm? Or it looks like semen? Just owning the libs, bro. Just my grandma on her rascal scooter owning the libs. How dare you call MAGA weird? Who doesn't walk around with brushed out beard, Trump fight shirt, and J.D. Vance sperm donor cup? Pray it's empty, my friends. Wow, he does have a weird ass. Would he straighten his beard or something? He does have he's got like an Amish thing going on there. What's going on there? Did he put gel in it? That's got product in it, doesn't it? Mariah, does this hair have product in it? Carrying a J.D. Vance sperm sample cup around is weird. The Abraham Lincoln look wasn't really that hip even in 1865. Wait till Trump is even more desperate for cash and starts suing these clueless T-shirt makers for infringement. The MAGA merch thing is a big fucking deal. His own gel. It's got J.D. Vance's product in it. Damn. It had to be somebody made these. Or somebody had a bunch of, maybe they work at a clinic that takes urine samples or something. And then someone printed off stickers and showed up at a rally with it. I don't think they all individually bought them off a website and showed up with them at this one rally. Somebody showed up at the rally and they bought them, right? Apparently wearing diapers and taping maxi pads to the side of their head was not weird enough for MAGA fascists. They are now carrying around J.D. Vance semen jars to mock Americans who need IVF to help with fertility problems. But hey, MAGA fascists definitely aren't weird. The I can't afford groceries crowd is getting weirder. Oh, there's a good video. Let me see this. Let me see if I can find it. It's on TikTok, I believe. Trump's new campaign promise, it's not new, he's been saying it for a little while, is that he's going to cut energy prices in half. Right? He would be cutting energy prices in half. At least. He says half at least. Now, I don't know as much about the energy market as I should, but I know a guy who does. Let me see if I can find him. Give me just a second. The Trump campaign is saying that Kamala Harris is a communist for wanting to stop price gouging. while simultaneously claiming that she stole the idea to stop price gouging from Trump. And I don't even know how that works. So if you steal an idea from Trump and use it, you're a communist. But if Trump uses it, then what? Very confused here. Okay, here's our guy. Matt Randolph, Mr. Global is the guy I'm looking for on TikTok.
Delusional meltdown. He's now posting AI-generated images.
Now, he's a world-renowned gas and energy oil expert. So let's see what he thinks about Trump's plan to globally recognized oil and gas expert and gas VP. I don't ask for investment. So he's had a bunch of people like pretending to be him. This guy knows what he's talking about, right? He's in the gas and oil industry. That's what he does for a living, and he knows about it. So let's see if we can find the right video.
20. Today that under my leadership.
That's not it. Hold on.
I'm announcing today that under my leadership, the United States
Here we go.
will commit to the ambitious goal of slashing energy and electricity prices by half at least.
Energy and electricity prices by half at least. Now, here's a question. Do you think, let's talk about something we know. Let's talk about a car, okay? Whitney Webb, she did an interview on Trump and Vance and their ties to Peter Thiel. Yeah, Peter Thiel's very strange. And Peter Thiel's kind of kicked off this like, oh, tech bro Trump support thing, but they're all fucking weirdos. All right. Let's think about something we all know, a car. Let's say you have not a fucking luxury car, but let's say you have a value brand new car, like the lowest model, the SE model, without, if they still do this, without power windows, without any luxury, any frill, and it's a $40,000 car, a $40,000 brand new car. It is the bottom of the line, the lowest make, the lowest model, because we're trying to put out something as cheap as possible, right? Do you think that you could cut the price of a base model, cheapest car in the lineup, $40,000 in half and sell it? Do you think that a company could do that? Could take a $40,000 car, base model, no frill, no like downgrading packages, but sell it for $20,000? Would it be possible without them going fucking broke? The answer is no, right? They could. I mean, they would destroy their company. The answer is no, because some things are fixed cost. So $40,000 isn't all profit. It's not like we can just charge $20,000 to just make. Some things are fixed cost, right? You have just the energy to produce it. You have people that work there. You have the base metal in the car, right? You have the engine you have to put in. You have everything has a cost. So if we're selling a $40,000 car, we probably make it for like $30,000, right? So you can't take it and do 50% off and sell it and hope to be a fucking company. Well, the same thing is with gas and oil, but we just don't think of it the same way, right? There's a fixed production cost. So when Trump says that I can cut oil by 50%, probably not. It's not like oil is making this 50% markup. There's the cost in maintenance and the equipment. I used to work in energy, right? I worked at all the power plants. There's a cost to maintain all that. There's a cost to purchase that. There's a cost. And usually, even though power is like extremely volatile when people like try to talk about it, or when prices go up and shit, they're not making a lot of power companies are subsidized or ran in conjunction with like local utilities, like a local municipality. Those people aren't making fucking bank, even though energy's stupid expensive. But there's a fixed cost to have people work, to have the lines fixed, to have the generators running, to have whatever fuel they're burning, to have all of that. Now, when we start talking about oil production, right now, natural gas is as low as it fucking gets. Natural gas is stupid fucking cheap. Why is natural gas stupid fucking cheap? Natural gas is a byproduct of when we drill for oil, right? Natural gas is a byproduct of when we drill for oil. So we are drilling for oil more now than any other country in the world in history. In fucking history. So if we're drilling at home more for oil than any other time ever, natural gas prices are going to go down, right? Because it's a byproduct. Natural gas comes out a lot of time, not always, right? They're natural gas farms, but not always. But production always goes up when we're drilling for more oil. So when we cut off domestic oil, which he's going to tell you why this would cut off domestic oil, we cut off domestic oil, stuff like natural gas shoots through the fucking roof. Because when a foreign country is drilling for oil and they produce natural gas, it's not a byproduct for us, right? It's a byproduct for wherever the fuck they are. When we're drilling for oil and we also hit natural gas very often, that's a byproduct. We already paid to do, whether we get natural gas or not, we already paid to drill for this oil. So the byproduct we sell really, 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 really cheap. When another country drills for oil to sell it to us and they happen to hit natural gas, they sell it in their fucking country. They're not selling it to us as a byproduct. They're selling it to us at a fucking premium if we have to buy it from them. But this guy will explain the market a lot better than I probably could. He is the expert where I'm a layman. But here you go.
I'm announcing today that under my leadership, the United States will commit to the ambitious goal of slashing energy and electricity prices by half at least.
He is going to cut energy prices by at least half within 12 months.
I've showed you this guy before. So he got a lot of hate for saying that, for showing why the gas prices were Trump's fault with the bullshit deal he did with OPEC on the way out and lied to him and all that. Like he got slammed for that, and we covered his video when he did that.
What would that look like? So the current price of gas is $3.44 on a national average. So we're talking about $1.72 a gallon on a national average gas. What would it?
$3.44. So $1.72 gas. Now I know that MAGA people like to fucking beat their dick to like a 99-cent gallon of gas. But I don't even think, he may say it here in a second, I can't remember. I don't even think it ever got that cheap under Trump, even during COVID. When COVID fucking tanked gas prices, when on the market, crude oil barrels were at a surplus price.
What would it take to get $1.72 a gallon gas on a national average? I'll put it to you this way. It never got there under his administration.
It only got down to $1.93.8 was the lowest it got to, even during COVID, as a national average. You may have had it for $1.70 where you live. Like, I live in a place where we have cheap gas prices, so it was below that, but we're talking about as a national average.
And even under COVID, the lowest it got on a national average was $1.93 in the month of April 2020. You would need oil to be about $20 a barrel to cut the price of gas in half. You don't just cut the price of oil in half, because some of the cost in a gallon of gas are fixed costs. So $20 a barrel oil, what does that mean? That means you are totally reliant on foreign oil, because there is no U.S. oil and gas industry left.
Did you hear that? If Trump's fever dream of cutting energy costs in half was a reality, U.S. companies cannot make a profit at that. There would be the entire U.S. economy based around oil would fucking collapse. would collapse. If, I don't think foreign countries could do $20 a barrel, but if foreign countries could do $20 a barrel, U.S. companies could not compete. There would be zero U.S. companies. So all these jobs where Trump says, I love drilling. If everybody's going to have a job, we're going to do the pipeline. We love fracking. What is that? I don't even know what it is. We love it, right? All those jobs are gone. While he claims Biden's trying to shut this down, if for some reason that he could get these energy, it would destroy every oil-producing job in the United States. Whenever I say oil, the way you guys want me to say it, it sounds so fucking weird coming out of my mouth. Am I saying it weird? Oil?
After that, production would drop at the fastest rate in history. Job loss would drop at the fastest rate in history. GDP in the United States would turn negative the first month, and we would enter a recession. But
GDP, the gross domestic product, GDP would turn negative within the first month. So all the jobs he claims to be saving, all the drill, baby, drill, he does not understand how energy works, but he's telling you he's going to fix it. Yeah, technically the oil prices were positive, but you couldn't buy it like that. That's just the way the market puts on it. You couldn't buy. It's not like you could go, anybody, even companies could go to OPEC and be like, okay, I want a barrel of oil and you give me $34 or whatever it was. That was just the market drop and trying to recorrect from COVID, when COVID happened.
he said energy and electricity. What would happen to electricity costs if oil went to $20 a barrel? Electricity costs would skyrocket at the fastest rate in history. Yeah, this dude don't know shit.
So if oil and gas could be cut in half, electricity prices would skyrocket. Right? You're talking about like if you have a $300 bill going to like $1,000 or $2,000 bill.
Shit about energy. Like he knows, I can't believe how little he knows. Anyway, currently natural gas prices are lower than they've been in over 30 years. The reason natural gas prices are so low is because of all of the associated natural gas that we are producing with the extra oil production. That means natural gas production in the United States would collapse with the...
So if we shut down our oil production, natural gas would also collapse.
Oil production and natural gas prices would skyrocket.
That's right, you idiot. Who cares about GDP when I got JD's cup of jizz?
Because we can't rely on OPEC for natural gas. No, we can't rely...
GDP? You mean JD's PP?
...on anybody for natural gas. We're on our own.
Got him. Lock in,
if
chat.
That production plummets, that price skyrockets. We saw that after COVID when natural gas went to $10 an MCF. That was because natural gas production had cratered because we lost a lot of oil production as well as...
And again, even when shit, let's say today, that just for the next month, crude oil went to $20 a barrel and everything halted in the U.S., right? Production, refinery, everything comes to a stop. Let's say it lasts for 6 months. But we know at the end of that 6 months, you know, it'll probably come back up. Refineries, drilling rigs, the entire process of going from crude oil to gasoline, diesel, whatever, takes months and months and months to start back up, right? These plants shut down. Sometimes, depending on how bad the market is, literally stop in the middle of a production run. And then they've got to be brought back online safely without damaging the equipment. It takes a long time to get this shit back up. This is what I used to do. We used to do plant shutdowns. Hell, some of the plants we would shut down and do their maintenance on, it would take several days just to get this certain polymer plant or something up and running, because you had heaters on this and you had air dryers and like everything has to be perfect to make these chemicals, right? Everything would have to be perfect to make these chemicals and get them coming out the other end without blowing somebody up or killing somebody or releasing toxic gas. So you can imagine that the oil industry, when they fire these, they don't just like flip a switch, we're on, flip a switch, we're off, flip a switch, we're on, flip a switch, we're off. They need some type of length of guaranteed time that oil is going to be at a certain price, or they're not even going to try to fire up the plants, right? Let's say it skyrockets for 3 days at fucking $3,000 a barrel. But after that, it drops to $20 a barrel. They unless they see a long enough run to where they can get up and going and make their money back, they're not even going to fire the plant up.
Natural gas production. Oh, and by the way, the cost of electricity in the United States did not drop one single year under his administration.
Oh, no. So 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, it was always going up a little bit under his administration. So I thought he said we have an energy crisis, which is the way to fix inflation. Weird, because under his administration, the cost of energy never went down. It actually went slowly up. Not by giant leaps and bounds, but it was still going up. That's weird. Because he tells you, remember the economy you had with me? I can get that back. And the problem is energy costs are driving inflation. Energy costs don't drive inflation.
Went up every single year. For people that know and understand energy like I do, this may be one of the dumbest statements that Donald Trump has ever made.
Right. Everything in the production line gets shut down, all the way from where they're pumping the oil, drilling for the oil, looking at prospecting, to all the way to the refinery, all the way. Everything gets shut down, right?
Thanks.
All right, I'm going to check out some more of his videos because I guarantee you some retards commented on it and he had to reply to them.
Something I've talked about and predicted many times on my channel, much to the dismay of followers and people that watch my content, and it's totally happening. It's totally happening, and that is that wind energy is not cutting it. And since wind energy is not cutting it, just as in 2023 and 2024, the United States will set a new record for consumption of natural gas, and that's because we're needing it to make electricity, because wind isn't doing it.
When I went to work at power plants, I would say probably 80% of the power plants I've ever went into are LNG, natural gas, right? Wind, solar, they're awesome to supplement. I just don't see us switching over to them like broadly. Even the plant that I built in Asheville, which is one of the last jobs I worked on the road, even though it was just 30 minutes from the house. The plant we built in Asheville was shutting down a coal-fired plant and putting in a natural gas plant. And they had like a deadline where they had to turn one off. We were actually like, this job was like super, super like specced out and rushed because they had promised to shut the coal-fired plant down by the last day of the year. And that other plant had to be online so they could change over, right? If not, they were going to be buying their electricity from neighboring cities at like twice the average rate or whatever it was.
U.S. boosts natural gas power as wind output slumps to 33-month low. Last year, we had more capacity to generate wind energy than any year in history, and our electricity generation in wind dropped. And the same is happening this year. We're going to produce less wind energy this year than we have in nearly 3 years, even though we have significantly more wind turbines and capacity, over 6 gigawatts more. And that's because, as I've told you many times, If the wind doesn't blow, it doesn't matter how many wind turbines you got. And since natural gas is the backup power,
That's why solar a lot of times is, I think solar is probably a better investment because you might not get a whole lot of windy days, and it takes a lot to move a wind turbine. It's not like a light breeze, right? You put them in really windy places, but you might get days that aren't always sunny, but you know there's going to be a bunch of those days that are sunny.
power for when wind isn't working, we're consuming record amounts of natural gas. And this is going to be 2 years in a row we've consumed.
There are people that claim they can do that. Are you talking about what are they called, divination rods? There are people that claim they can do that for oil as well.
Record amounts of natural gas, even though we have record amounts of wind energy capacity available to us. In 2024, electricity consumption in the United States is going to increase.
They claim they can do it for coal and copper and diamonds and all kinds of shit.
By 4%. I've told you guys this. Electricity demand is going to jump. In the next 15 years, we're going to add 200 quadrillion BTUs of electricity demand. That's like adding 2 more United States of America to the world. I've talked about data centers and hot weather and all the things that are going to drive this demand. That is happening, full-blown happening. Of the 4% increase in consumption in electricity, we're going to see in 20...
I know nobody likes to talk about it on the right, but this is also a consequence of the temperature overall getting warmer, right? And that's a huge demand for it. People don't like to be hot. You guys probably don't know hardly anybody that still lives without air conditioner, right?
24, natural gas is going to account for 2/3 of that, and solar is going to pick up the slack. Wind is not even in the equation because we're producing less. I've told you guys for a long time that I was a big fan of solar. People like myself and Robert Bryce.
Solar's probably a really good investment. I would probably stay away from wind. Wind is subsidized to survive, it seems like. That they've been having really bad years, but the government props them up enough because they want green energy that's how they stay in business most of the time. And I used to build wind farms. That was a job I had when I first went out working on the road.
Long time that wind just isn't cutting it. And of course the accusations always are, oh, you're just anti-renewable, you're pro-oil, all of the accusations. No, we just want something that works. We just want something that works, and that is why we are both so pro-nuclear. Wind energy gets over 10 times the subsidies that oil and gas. And
I don't know why people are so scared of nuclear energy. It's fucking amazing. It's fucking amazing. We use nuclear to produce steam and run steam turbines. Just like now that we use coal or LNG or whatever to produce steam, to run steam turbines, right? We use this, so like on when you go to like a gas-fired, a natural gas power plant, what happens is natural gas comes in. It goes through 2 gas turbines. It's usually 2 on 1. Sometimes it's different, but let's just say the average is 2 on 1. So it goes through 2 gas turbines. As it goes to the gas turbine, it's a big fucking jet engine bolted to a generator, bolted to the ground, right? So that gas turbine uses this LNG. That LNG it's exhausted out, right? It's burn up. That exhaust is still hot. So you use what they call HRSG, which is heat recovery steam generation. So in the exhaust of that gas turbine are a bunch of pipes running in there full of water. It's so hot, it boils that water and makes steam. It does a steam power plant. With nuclear, you just make the steam and you refuel it like every 10, 20 fucking years, and it just works. It just works. Yeah, but it's such a small amount of waste. It's such a small amount of waste. I've changed fuel rods before.
Other energy gets, yet it is oil and gas that is having to cover for wind's failures. Those subsidies need to be directed towards nuclear, towards something that works, period. So this is something I've talked about and predicted many times on my channel, much to the dismay of followers and people that watch my content.
Let's go next. I want to see.
Breaking news. It's just been reported that Vice President Kamala Harris is going to be introducing a policy to stop companies from price gouging and to lower the cost of groceries.
Price gouging laws already exist in 42 states, and people don't understand what price gouging is.
So so if we have 1,000, so power plants are measured in megawatts. So if we have 1,000 megawatt nuclear power station, right, 1,000 megawatt, it would supply power to over 1 million people. Okay? If you take the nuclear waste from it and run it through the recycling process we have now, it would produce about the size of a brick of waste. The size of a brick, like you build a brick house over a year. 1 million people with power, and the waste from this is about the size of a brick. Now, the waste that they're actually worried about, which is called high-level waste, right? This is still radioactive, still within its half-life. High-level waste is about 5 grams a year. Nuclear should be at the backbone of our power system. If you want to do wind and solar and all that other shit, right, LNG, nuclear should be the backbone. It should be the largest percentage, and worst case scenario, fucking wind stops, sun stops, LNG prices skyrocket. We ought to be able to run a skeleton of the United States like what needs to be ran off nuclear.
People think if cereal is too expensive today, then that's price gouging. It's not. Price gouging is when a company raises the price of their goods over a certain threshold during an emergency.
That Vice President Kamala Harris is going to be introducing a policy to stop companies from price gouging and to lower the cost of groceries.
Price gouging laws already exist in 42 states, and people don't understand what price gouging is.
I think it's 48 states, but yeah.
People think if cereal is too expensive today, then that's price gouging. It's not. Price gouging is when a company raises the price.
So price gouging is technically not what we're talking about, right? A price gouging would be when you're like doing it on purpose during a pandemic. Like, let's say everybody needs toilet paper and you take toilet paper. One company takes toilet paper to $200 and they control the supply of toilet paper. So it's $200 a roll, right? That's gouging at a specific time period. We're actually talking about record profits. And it's pretty fucked up that they won't lower. So their production costs went up. They raised their prices, right? They made the same profit. Production costs went down. They're keeping their profits record high numbers. And inflation has went back down. He should have brought those. If they like to play by inflation, right? Fair is fair. So when inflation goes up, we understand that they're going to raise their fucking prices. But when inflation goes fucking down, they ought to lower their fucking prices. And they do not.
Price of their goods over a certain threshold during an emergency situation. It does not apply when there's no emergency. Price fixing is when companies coordinate together to keep prices artificially high. A federal law against price gouging does nothing to lower prices because it only applies during times of an emergency.
I think people, listen, we haven't seen the law that she would implement, right? I think they're saying price gouging because it's either to understand that than price fixing. Plus, it's like catchier, right? People are going to say it. People are going to repeat it. People know what it means, or think they know what it means. Again, the issue is price fixing, I guess.
This is not how you fix high prices. This country has allowed huge corporations to monopolize industries for decades.
Exactly.
It's the cause of high prices, because there's not enough competition to drive prices down. There's a handful of companies that provide us all of our food, and if they...
This is why I only drink RC Cola. I drive out of my way to... Who owns RC Cola? I better see. That was a joke, by the way, but I do love... My favorite soft drink, I drink 2 a day, is RC Cola. I drink 1 when I come to the office, and then I take 1 with me from the office. I drink 2 a day. It is owned by Cadbury Schweppes. There you go.
They have no competition, and there's no emergency, and there's no price fixing. They can charge whatever they want, and there's nothing we can do about it, other than introduce more competition into the marketplace. This campaign promise will be received very well by a lot of people, but it's an empty.
I hope there's a way that we can fix this. It seems like when we're just talking about Coke and Pepsi, I mean, it seems like price fixing is going on. Because if just one of them lowered their prices to pre-pandemic prices, they would take a gigantic amount of the market share.
Promise.
I know some people prefer Pepsi over Coke or Coke over Pepsi, but if it's fucking 60% of the price of the other one, a lot of people would change.
When I taught you about the scam that was the Fuel Price Gouging Act,
I love RC Cola.
I taught you that only applies in emergency.
I have to go out of my way to buy it, but I fucking love it.
And was already against the law in over 40 states. This is the same thing. This is the exact same thing. Thanks.
We have some breaking news.
So this is another widely held belief that is just completely false.
It says build more refineries, sell to the rest of the world, fuel and transportation prices go down, prices of all products go down. Again, we would only build factories while it was profitable for them. So let's say we build 1 million new properties and that drives the price down to $20 a barrel. Those companies are going to drive themselves out of business.
I'm sorry, but it is. And I'm not saying that there wasn't a time when this is true, but this is absolutely not true in the modern economy. And that is, if you bring fuel and transportation prices down, the price of everything else will come down as well. No, it will not. It absolutely will not. Because all you have to do is think about that from the supplier's perspective. If you have this huge corporation and prices come down, fuel prices come down, and let's say you save $20 million a year in distribution costs, are you going to pass those savings on to your customers, or are you going to pass those savings on to your shareholders? As a matter of fact, I could make the argument that prices could go up when transportation costs come down. I'm not saying they will. I'm saying they could from some.
It's sad that corporations have become this machine that lower production costs only equal record profits, right? They don't lower production costs. It's less tied to how much it costs them to produce it and more tied to what can they get away with. And the only way to fucking fix this is to stop buying it. But we've seen, like, you guys remember this stupid, like, nobody's buying gas on Friday.
Some companies, because the way companies look at it is, oh, people have more money in their pocket. Gas is cheap. We can charge them a little more. There's also historical data that shows us that high gas prices don't lead to high inflation. All you have to do is look at inflation under the Obama administration when we had record high gas prices.
And inflation was fine. We had record high gas prices when Obama was in office, and inflation was fine. Trump's theory about this energy thing is not true.
No crazy inflation there. No crazy inflation under the Bush administration when we had record high gas prices. It didn't happen. You cannot make the argument that corporations are raking people over the coals and then turn around and make the same argument that they'll lower their prices if you lower their transportation and distribution cost. No. They're just going to redirect that money to shareholders.
They're going to rake harder.
Not give it back to consumers. Sorry. Thanks. Okay, here's the deal. The reason I have the most scammers and copycats on my account is because I'm in the oil and gas industry. And scammers understand that people are always looking for investment opportunities. So they use my account to try to scam people. And that's why on my account I don't ask for investment. I don't and never will. What kind of oil and gas professional would I be if I was asking people on TikTok for investment? You know what I mean? Yeah. And there's a couple of them out there. Yeah. I am not going to message you. I am not going to ask you to invest. I'm good. Don't need your money. I'm good. Won't be messaging. If you get a message from me, it ain't me. Okay, here's the deal. The reason I have the most...
You mean commit multiple felonies? If you were to do what he's about to suggest in this video, you would be committing multiple crimes and guilty of multiple felonies, to include mail fraud, impersonating an American citizen, voter fraud.
God damn, this is literally like shooting fish in a barrel with you, man. Holy shit. I don't know what you're...
Oh, no. Let me, I want to see what he says. This is the older millennial, the guy that wanted the hedge fund for regular people or whatever. And it just seemed like he was just scamming his followers to buy apartment buildings. I don't know which video it is. Hold on.
He was suggesting to do.
You would be committing multiple crimes and guilty of
He's in a
felony.
white t-shirt. And it looks like he's inside.
Impersonating an American citizen, voter.
I want to see this. This guy's a fucking joke, dude. This guy has, but because he's on that Trump MAGA bullshit, is this it? Because he's on that Trump MAGA bullshit, he's got followers. That's the easiest way to build a following. No, that's not it, but he is inside in that one. Is it a more recent video then? Did I skip over it? God damn it, I want to see what he says.
They just tried to assassinate Donald Trump. If you're not aware, Trump's VP is going to be Jay. Shooter at the Trump rally. I, on the other hand, flew to the other side of the country.
It's Wednesday night, and Kamala Harris is black.
Well, is she really? Please.
Yes.
Imagine you're running the Amazon. TikTok, what the fuck is going on? You literally took down my live where all I was doing was playing the interview between each. All right, so let's make a video about this.
The interview is not.
He was flying in Epstein's.
Let's make a video about this before
flying.
I only say that because
The interview is not even working. Like, no.
I wish there was something. I want to create a middle-class hedge fund.
Damn it, I don't know how old it is. I want to see what he was fucking saying. It must be an older video, though. He had the guy talk and said, you want to do... It looks like... Or maybe he deleted it. That's all the videos on his account right now? Oh, this isn't the real older... I'm an idiot. I clicked the one he tagged, but he must have to tag... He must be blocked by him. This guy blocks a lot of people. The older millennial.1. Is that his main account? 1.3 million followers. Does he delete a bunch of videos, I guess? No, this has more videos on it. All right, we're looking for him in a white t-shirt. This one?
It is amazing how Democrat officials have no problem lying to the people when they get called out. Pay attention. And please.
No, but we've got more. Okay, it's probably one of these. No, that's the wrong. That doesn't have the crocheted thing behind him.
CNN just got caught using AI to try to make the crowds at a Kamala Harris. I am still waiting for the day when these... CNN just got caught using AI to try to make the crowds at a Kamala Harris event look bigger. Let me introduce you to Catherine Rampell. She worked for the Washington Post and is a commentator on CNN. And this was the image she posted.
Wait a second. So you're saying CNN did this, and you just said she works for WAPO and it has spoke on CNN before.
Said scenes from the Harris fundraiser in Pittsfield, Massachusetts. Then people started noticing some little issues with this photo. And she said, getting spam claiming these photos are AI. Not sure why I'd use AI to create a crowd of people in downtown Pittsfield. Then people started zooming in. The fuck is going on with that road sign?
It's got a filter. Do you not see how this kind of looks like it's a painting? There's a filter on this.
How does that happen? Someone explain to me how they can put their hands through the fucking sign? And what fucking language is this? Like, it's very obvious.
It says outdoor recreation. I read it in English, bro.
Hands through the fucking sign? And what fucking language?
So this clearly has a filter on it, right? And it looks like it's zoomed in. But what fucking language is this? Can you guys not read that? It says outdoor recreation.
Like, it's very
Everything's
obvious.
AI.
This is all fake. Like, they tried to take a tiny crowd at her fundraiser.
He also claims that the airplane is AI and said if anybody could find one video, if you could find just one video of the crowds of the crowd at this hangar from the crowds, then there you go. We take it all back. You can prove us all wrong. Everybody will relent to you that you were right. I found one in like 30 seconds. I don't know. I don't think we're going to find it. Let's go back to this one.
This is... You mean commit multiple felonies? If you were to do what he's about to suggest in this video, you would be committing multiple crimes and guilty of multiple felonies, to include mail fraud, impersonating an American citizen, voter fraud.
God damn, this is literally like shooting fish in a barrel with you, man. Holy shit. I don't know what you're suggesting he was suggesting to do.
I no longer support Trump, no.
To do is perfectly legal. New law passed by Republicans in the state of Georgia. This law that allows people in Georgia to go to that website and challenge other people's voter registration. Yeah, that's what
So he was saying use this website to challenge other people's voter registration that Georgia set up.
that guy was talking about, going on that website and challenging other people's registrations. Here's the law. Senate Bill 189, passed in Georgia, signed by Brian Kemp. And you and your big brain talking about all of these felonies when what he is suggesting people do is something that was made perfectly legal by the party that you support. Good luck with the rage baiting bill. Oh my God, fuck around.
If they win the day after the victory, they'll stop with all the drilling, but they went back
Looks just like him on that photo on the beach.
to it because prices were going through the roof. They were going really bad, and that's what caused our...
Oh, I want to see what his claims were. Mail fraud?
You mean commit multiple felonies? If you were to do what he's about to suggest in this video, you would be committing multiple crimes and guilty of multiple felonies, to include mail fraud, impersonating an American citizen, voter fraud.
Mail fraud, impersonating is impersonating an American citizen even a fucking crime? If you just say I'm an American and you're not? Because I've seen people do that before. Impersonating an American citizen. Is that illegal? I can't even find his video on it, so who the fuck knows?
Yeah, this is literally like shoot.
All right, back to Trump.
If they win the day after the victory, they'll stop with all the drilling, but they went back to it because prices were going through the roof. They were going really bad, and that's what caused our inflation, and that's what destroyed the lives of many Americans.
Is it opposite day? It must be opposite day. So first of all, let's look at why oil prices were high in 2021 and 2022. Under the Trump administration, OPEC was producing 37.5 million barrels a day. And then right in here, Donald Trump made that OPEC 2020 deal. What was OPEC producing in 2021? 31 million barrels a day? 37, 31. You think that might impact oil prices? What about 2020?
And that was Trump's deal.
34. 37, 34. You think that might impact oil prices? And why were they doing this? Why were they producing so much less?
Why were they producing less that raised our oil prices? Why would they do that? Oh, because Trump convinced them to.
Doing this. Why were they producing so much less? Trump's historic oil deal. Yeah, it was fucking historic, all right. When did the deal end? April 2022. Yeah, this is when Trump cut a deal for OPEC to cut production by 10% for 2 years. That deal ended in April 22. What else did they say about it? Trump was personally involved throughout the process and showed his skill at deal making. Wow. You want to see what April 22 looks like on a chart? You see that peak oil price? That's April 22. You see all of that falling? That's after April 22. Our highest rig counts was when those prices were high. Rig counts are lower now than they were when prices were over $120 a barrel. He's saying we're drilling now, but weren't drilling then. Our rig counts have dropped a lot, mostly because natural gas prices are some of the lowest in history because we have drilled so much. But we cannot drill our way out of high oil prices. That is not a thing. We can do it with natural gas, but we can't do it with oil. That is because we control our natural gas market. We don't control the global oil market. Not even by a little bit. Thanks.
If they win...
Hi, everyone. I wanted to let everyone know, some of you may know that I co-host a radio show, podcast called The Energy Mix with EIN CEO.
Oh, that's cool.
There's the background graphic for my most recent interview. Sometimes I'm the host and sometimes I'm the guest. Kim interviews me at times and I interview other guests at times. And next week, I'm going to be interviewing Mr. Global. He was the first person I interviewed.
Oh, sweet.
I took over as...
Mark your calendars for Monday, August the 19th. That's this coming Monday.
I was hoping he would answer more comments.
Central Time. I will be appearing on this show, Matt Nair on air, which you can find on...
I like this guy.
Way to get gas
He seems to be pretty straightforward.
prices down? Do you know a good way to get gas prices down? Have a global pandemic and have everybody stay at home. That is why gas prices plummeted in 2020. That is 100% why. That's why oil prices were negative briefly in 2020. We had a pandemic.
Catherine, even before the pandemic, the price of gas was about 40% cheaper than it is today.
And also the overall CPI has...
So CNN started this spot by stating they were bringing on 2 experts to talk about oil and gas. I've never heard of either one of these people, and neither one of them are experts in oil and gas by any means. CNN, where did you find these people? These are not oil and gas experts. I found this one, Catherine Rampell. She's a writer for the Washington Post. I looked through her whole background. Zero. Nothing about oil and gas. Anything about nothing. Nothing in her background. Nothing.
She an economist?
The other guy is this guy, Stephen Moore. He's nothing about oil and gas. He's worked for the Heritage Foundation. He's a writer. He worked on some presidential campaign. Nothing in his background. Nothing. Not a single thing in either one of these people's backgrounds. Their education, their work experience, nothing is related to oil and gas in any way whatsoever. And CNN has them arguing on their show as oil and gas experts. Oh, and newsflash, nothing against these people, but the Catherine Rampell girl, she cited some statistics, but it was obvious she knows nothing about oil and gas. And the other guy, he knew even less. He didn't have a clue. And this right here is why nobody in this country knows anything about oil and gas or this industry whatsoever. Because these large media networks bring these people on, they don't have a clue what they're talking about. They get on there and they just scream at each other about things they don't even
know. They want the ratings. So someone asked Destiny the other day, Piers Morgan said he'd never have you back on his show, and then he was back on it like 3 days later. They want that, right? They want the ratings. They want the over-the-top statements. They want the crazy fights. They want the yelling back and forth and say, well, okay, well, I guess this topic's still up for debate.
Even know. And like I said, nothing against these people.
It sells, right? You get clicks.
About as much about oil and gas as the average person. Yeah. Good job, CNN.
Let's uncover some misinformation in mainstream media, specifically on the show Morning Joe. I'll show you.
Steve, what did the numbers show? Well, first of all, we were never energy independent under Donald Trump. In fact, we really haven't been energy independent going back until sometime before 1950. You can see that the amount of oil imports that we had during Trump did, in fact, decline. This is part of a long progression that goes back to the mid-2000s. It's nothing that he particularly did. It continued under Biden, and lo and behold, the first time we've been energy independent as it applies to oil was in 2023 under Biden's presidency, when we actually...
I don't think we've ever been energy independent.
We exported a bit more oil than we imported.
No. So first of all, let's clearly define what energy independence is. It's when you produce more energy than you consume, period. We did become energy independent in 2019 under Donald Trump, and we are still energy independent today. We're more energy independent than we was then. And that guy is citing this report that was recently released in March of
Well, I guess that would be on importing oil. We're still importing oil.
This year that,
U.S. achieves energy independence for the first time in 40 years in 2024.
Achieves energy independence for the first time in 40 years.
So what does he say it is?
From a report that was put out by J.P. Morgan. This is the J.P. Morgan report. And in this report, it says the U.S. has achieved energy independence for the first time in 40 years, but it doesn't say when. It just says, see the chart below, right? Well, the chart below clearly shows that we crossed that line in 2019, not in 2024. And then Steve Ratner goes to his little chart that he has on his background in the studio and shows a line that we imported less oil than we exported in 2024. That's false.
We imported, hold on.
And Steve Ratner goes to his little chart that he has on his background in the studio and shows a line that we imported less oil than we exported in 2024. That's false.
We imported less oil than we exported. Okay.
This number right here is imports, 218. This number right here is exports. So when it comes to just crude oil only and not all...
So where's that chart from?
Still import.
Oh, just crude oil only. Okay.
We export. And what that guy on MSNBC, Steve Ratner, what he's doing, he's
all
comparing
oil.
Crude oil imports to total petroleum exports. So he's not using...
Okay. So it's two different... Okay, it's different things.
Either just crude or crude and petroleum, right? Whenever you're looking at crude oil imports and exports, make sure you're looking at what you want to look at, because you can look at just crude oil, or you can look at another graph that says crude oil and petroleum products. Again, he is comparing crude oil imports only to crude oil exports that also include other petroleum. Newsweek ran that story back in March or May, whenever it was, just to make it look like we only became energy independent under the Biden administration. And the report they cited in their report that came out by J.P. Morgan does not support what they say, because J.P. Morgan's report says just look at the chart. The chart says 2019. Newsweek, the chart says 2019. The reason this misinformation is bad is because the average person can go fact check this and think it's not misinformation, because they don't understand how to read the data and how to separate out and categorize the data properly. So a lot of people will fact check this and say, oh yeah, he's right. It's not right. Not right at all. Are we energy independent? Yes. Are we more energy independent than ever? Yes. Did it just occur this year? No. It's been going on since 2019. And by the way, energy independence has nothing to do with just oil imports and exports. This whole segment was misleading and false. Thanks. Let's uncover some misinformation in mainstream media, specifically on the show Morning Joe. I'll show you.
Steve, what are the numbers?
Okay, we got consumption, production.
We're never energy independent under Donald Trump. In fact, we really haven't been energy independent going back until sometime before 1950.
Imports, exports.
The oil imports that we had during Trump did, in fact, decline. This was part of a long progression that goes back to the mid-2000s. It's nothing that he particularly...
So this is a great question about energy independence. And Lisa asks, just so she's sure, energy independence is about consumption and not about exports and imports. That is correct. Energy independence is simply that you produce more energy than you consume. And the reason exports matter is very important. You see, we have a lot.
You produce more than you consume. It has nothing to do with imports or exports.
Capacity to store energy.
This guy's name's Mr. Global.
In this country. And in the future, that is going to grow exponentially. In the future, we are going to be storing a ton of energy. So it's going to be produced energy that's not going to be exported. It's either going to be used or stored for later use. So looking at exports and imports does not give you a full picture of our production capacity and our consumption.
So this chart has... So this is what he's talking about.
Storage capacity becomes great enough.
So this chart here says U.S. Prime Energy Overview from 1950 to 2023. And we have consumption, which is how much we actually use. We have production, right? That's how much we produce here. Then we have import exports. And import exports doesn't always, I mean, it kind of trails along, but it's not always the same as production and consumption. So if we look at this sharp downturn here, this is in 2020. Let's see, production dropped, consumption dropped, and then past 2020. So in 2021, we produced 93.8, we consumed 93.3. 2022, we produced 98, we consumed 94. 2023, we produced 102, we consumed 93. And obviously 2024 numbers aren't out yet. But I like this trend at the very end. It looks like we have a sharp production going up, right, to over 100 quadrillion BTUs. And this is for energy, not just petroleum. And we are only consuming 93.59 quadrillion BTUs.
Theoretically, we could produce significantly more energy than we consume, and the exports and imports wouldn't match that. And I know a lot of people, and even other experts, they focus on net imports, net exports, and all of this stuff. But if we stopped exporting all petroleum products tomorrow and continued to import, the exports and imports would flip, but we would still be energy independent. And in 20, 30, 40 years, we are going to have an insane amount of battery storage in this country that's just going to be stored energy. And that is why
I think that would also be a really good investment. Battery storage, right? Because there's times that we can produce excess and then we need the storage in place. I think that'd be a great investment. There's going to be gigantic battery storage places eventually. When the technology catches up, whoever's the first to get out a really good technology that's not so hard on the environment.
I only use production versus consumption. I do not consider imports and exports in any way. Thanks. So this is one of those very simple yet very great questions. What difference does it make if we're energy independent? Because a lot of people have the misperception that energy independence equals lower prices. No, energy independence has nothing to do with price. Energy independence has everything to do.
Wait, it doesn't bring down our inflation and cut your grocery bill in half, and a gallon of milk is now free. Plus, they pat you on the ass when you leave.
Energy security and national security. You see, there was a time when we were completely at the mercy of other nations for our energy needs, especially oil. A lot of people remember the oil embargo and, long lines to get gas and really high gas prices. What they don't remember is that OPEC didn't cut us off completely. There was a time when we could have been cut off completely and essentially shut the country down. Yes. And now people are very sensitive to what we are still exposed to. Yes, OPEC can cut production and impact global oil prices, but on a very limited basis. I mean, basically where they are right now is about all they can do to us because they simply cannot afford to cut any more. We produce more oil and natural gas than any country in the world ever has, and the vast majority of what we import comes from our closest allies. We do not rely on OPEC for oil. We rely on them to keep oil on the global market, to keep prices in control, but not even that much anymore. If you consider the fact that other countries around the world are limited to basically cutting supply to where we're paying $4 on a national average for gasoline, if that's the worst they can do,
as long as we stay where we're at, I think that's why it's not as big a deal for the petrodollar as it would have been at one time.
pretty damn good off because we're producing enough oil now that the $5 gas we averaged in 2022, we shouldn't see that again because those other countries around the world that are not our friends simply cannot cut production enough to make.
So no one else can fuck us hard enough to where we should see this like sudden spike to like $5 a gallon. We're doing our own thing.
Make it go that high again. Do not forget the fact that Russia is now a part of OPEC, and that directly threatens our energy security if we don't have energy independence. So it's very important that we maintain the energy independence we have for our energy security and national security. Thanks. See, this is one of those very simple yet very great questions.
Yeah, that we'd have to get fucked by our own country.
Because a lot of people have the misperception.
By the way, there's a story that come out that Musk donated a Cybertruck to a military general. Kadyrov said he received a Tesla Cybertruck from Elon Musk. He promised to send it to the Special Military Operations Zone and attach a machine gun to it. Elon, thank you. Come to Grozny. I will receive you as the most dear guest. I do not think that our Russia MFA will be against such a trip. And, of course, we are waiting for your new developments that will contribute to the completion of the SMO. Kadyrov wrote on his Telegram channel. A Russian general. I'm confused. At West Point, USMA just had Elon Musk as its convocation speaker when Musk is providing vehicles ready for military use to the sanctioned enemies of America. Why isn't this the biggest story in America today? Why is West Point coddling a man working openly against the U.S.? And it says a Cybertruck is a production, not military. This is the fact checked. The Cybertruck is a production, not military vehicle, and well over 10,000 have been produced thus far. It would not be difficult to acquire one and transport it to another part of the world. There's no evidence that Elon provided the vehicle, and Elon denies. This might be a lost in translation thing. It's clearly translated where he says, thanks, Elon. Maybe he just bought one and bought one in Europe and then, had it shipped to him or something like that. I don't know. It's very weird. But Elon Musk says, are you seriously so retarded that you think I donated a Cybertruck to a Russian general? This is amazing. Yet another example of how much legacy media lies. It was originally from Seth Branson. I keep telling you guys, Elon is obsessed with me. Folks keep doubting it. He reads everything I write and will continue to do so. This is from Seth Abramson. Here he fails to reply to the query I and all U.S. media have been asking. Why isn't he remotely turning off this Tesla terms of service volative vehicle? And it says, I'm confused. And he does the thing. And he says, are you seriously? So basically, he could turn. I guess they're asking him, why aren't we turning off this vehicle? A Russian general's driving around. We've got sanctions against Russia. This guy's driving it around. Tesla can remotely turn off your fucking vehicles. I'd say they're already calling for our democracy to die. It's not just Trump fans like Webcom when I watch. Oh, I've got one for you. I just watched it the other day. How would I get back to that? Tesla salvage title. Let's see if I can find this. It was a guy at the desk on the phone. Oh, it's probably this guy.
All right, part 2.
But I want part 1, so let me go to it. So this is
part 2. Here we go.
This is a car salesman, right? He sells cars, and he sold a Tesla, right? He bought and sold a Tesla to a guy. And let me see if I can find part 1. Is it in his pinned videos? No. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it is. It's part 1's the first one.
Call a customer. He bought a car from us.
They bought a Tesla. I guess he does a lot of, it's EV Auto Alex. So he does a lot of like used cars, electric vehicles. So he purchased a Tesla. He bought this Tesla from auction and he sold it to a customer. Now the customer calls and says, hey, we got a battery light on. Now a battery light is not the main battery that costs like thousands of dollars to replace, right? It is the 12-volt battery. Just like your car has a 12-volt battery in it, so does a Tesla, and that runs everything that's 12-volt, right? And that helps the car start and turn on and all that shit. You have to have a 12-volt. So you got a 12-volt battery light. Now, the problem is the 12-volt battery goes all the way dead. You can't turn on your vehicle, right? You have to do something about it. So the guy had a battery light, comes on and says replace the 12-volt battery. He calls and says, hey, 12-volt battery. And they're like, oh, yeah, we just sold you that car. We'll fix it. No big deal. Tesla has other plans. So listen to this call.
And shortly after he bought it, the 12-volt battery had a warning that it needed to be replaced, which is super common and not expensive. And so, of course, we said, yeah, no problem. We'll reimburse you for that. And there's no way to, it's like a battery that goes out on your phone, not your phone, in a device. It just happens sometimes. And so there's no way to know that it's happening. Otherwise, we'd do it before we sold the car. So he bought it, and it was close enough to when he bought it from us that we said, oh, yeah, of course, we'll totally pay for that. So just set up a service appointment with Tesla, and they'll fix it, and we'll Venmo you the money. So he unfortunately waited like 4 or 5 days, didn't do anything about it. And if you don't do anything about it, then the car will die, because it's the small battery. The 12 volt's the small battery that kind of gets the car started. And so that was kind of his bad. He's like, man, I'm sorry. So he got the car taken into Tesla, and they got it there, and they checked it in, and they said, this is a salvage title.
This is James.
James.
Did you hear that? So they agreed to replace it. It had to be towed because he waited so long, so it eventually went dead. And then they get it into the Tesla place, and they say it's a salvage title. Now, what is a salvage title? A salvage title is when a car's been in an accident so bad that the state decides there's a total, the state and insurance company, and they issue a title that says salvaged, right? You can still rebuild these, but they have a much lower resale value. Maybe they've been flooded, maybe they've been crashed, maybe they've been totaled out, whatever. You can still rebuild these, you can still resell them, but it'll always be marked as a salvage title. You cannot go get a regular title for it. It'll always be a salvage title. Now, why is this weird? Because this guy buys fucking cars for a living. So he went and bought the car from the auction. There's nothing on the Carfax. There's nothing on the report. The auction didn't tell him anything. And he has a title for the car that does not say salvage vehicle. It was driving fine. It was working fine. Everything was going fine. The 12-volt battery went dead. They take it to Tesla, replace the 12-volt battery, and now suddenly Tesla's telling them it's a salvage title. Now, Tesla's saying it's a salvaged, titled vehicle. But in reality, what we're going to find out is Tesla internal recordings of the vehicle claim that it's a salvaged vehicle. Has nothing to do with the title, has nothing to do with the state, has nothing to do with the wreck it was in. They claim that their sensors went off and say that it's a salvage vehicle, and nobody fucking knew.
James, hey, it's Alex at EV Auto.
Hey, how are you doing, man?
Good, man. You got a minute?
Yeah. I'm just kicking it out of the park bench.
Okay, cool. So, yeah, I texted you some info, but it's just easier to talk. So I haven't heard back from Tesla yet a second time, but we've all been talking here. We have the full Carfax in front of us on that car, and it's clean as clean. No accidents.
Do you ever see these fucking Trump memes and think, what the fuck is wrong with this person? This has got to be some weird erotica, right? A titan, an icon, a true American visionary. Like, they've never fucked anybody in their life and not pictured Trump's face. Something's going on there.
Certainly no salvage or branded title. It's, one owner coming from California. It's all the things that we require when we buy a car. I never would have bought the car, period.
Oh, for sure.
Even if they're my internet boyfriend, it's weird.
Had any issues, so I know you trust us, but yeah, we didn't sell you a car with a branded title. And so I called Tesla, and I said, look, you guys know cars. You can hide maybe like a minor accident by paying cash if no cop was involved, that kind of stuff.
Right. You can hide a minor accident, right? Pay cash, tell somebody, hey, don't call the cops. What do you think it'll cost? $500? Well, here's $1,000, just fine. Right? I'll get it repaired myself. You go repair yours. Here's $1,000. In a lot of states, it's illegal to do a hit and run like that, but whatever. But it's very, very hard to hide that you totaled a fucking car, that you salvage titled a car. How do you hide that?
But as far as the three of us know here, and the guy that talked to Tesla, I'm like, I don't know how you'd hide a salvage title.
That's why I'm not like.
They're always fixated on his hair too. It's always super long and sexy or flying up in the air behind him. But we've seen pictures. We know what he looks like. That's obviously not it, bro.
Extremely irritated or put out by this because I know you guys are going to take care of either way. So I just showed up here and I was just like, hey, like, what's the deal? And they're like, oh yeah, like we've only seen this maybe once or twice in the entire time of being here, but like apparently they're even saying like, yeah, like for us we can't do anything with this. Like when it's like this, like they deemed it a salvage title here, and they're like,
they deemed it salvage title there. So what happened? What we're figuring out is it came into Tesla completely fine. They picked up a crash on its sensor, and they're saying, oh, now it's salvage. We can't do anything about it. This is crazy. Like, I want a Tesla really bad, but this is fucking crazy. That you bought a car, everything was fine with it, you need to get it serviced. You take it to Tesla place, now they're like, oh, it's sorry. Because also, you know what they do? They turn off your ability to charge the car. They claim that there could be damage to the main battery packs because it's salvaged now. It took an impact so hard.
Incoming
you can't
dono
even
clip.
charge the fucking car. You can't charge the car.
like, yeah, we'd have to do.
I hate you, Spicy.
We can't sign off. Like apparently all of the, and I'm just more giving you this advice for whoever you.
That's the first dono clip in forever.
Moly mole here. Where's this bloody NDA? Because this prick keeps striking for poses and asking me to smile.
Oh, that's Becky01. I thought that was Spicy Atsuko. So what did it say? I was waiting for Spicy Atsuko. It caught me off guard, okay? I was confused. I heard an NDA. Why can't I get it to play now? Thank you for the dono clip. I'm trying. It's like froze, and now it's going to play like 30 times. Hold on. I clicked it. I did the thing Mariah does and just clicked it a bunch of times. Thank you for the dono clip. I appreciate it. Oh, wait. I'll have to play it in a second. It says that it's reloading. It says service temporarily unavailable. We will play it again in just a second. Thank you for the dono clip.
For them to go back and be like, dude, are you serious? You know, like, because apparently, like, all of the battery warranties are void on it, and yeah.
Well, that's.
Thanks a lot, Spicy Atsuko, for having a fucking name like other people's names. Thanks, I appreciate it. It's always your fault, Chinaman.
If it's a salvage title, but again, it's not. There's a mistake. So I talked to them, and what we're going to do is a high voltage inspection. And once high voltage inspect, so what they're saying, this is actually exactly how it went down. They're not. I don't know who you're talking to, but.
So they claim they're going to do a high voltage inspection.
They're not being totally straight with you. So they check it in, and when they checked it in, it told them it's a salvage title. They didn't deem it one. They were, and so they throw their hands up in the air and say, we don't work on salvage titles. You don't keep the car, we don't keep the car. And so yeah, we'll definitely take care of you. But again, I'm still.
So at least this guy's a good deal. He's like, well, you know, this wasn't told to us, so like, you're not going to keep this car. If this is true, you're not going to keep the car. We're not going to keep the car. We're going to go with the auction place.
Dang optimistic that it's a mistake, not an actual thing. And so.
Oh, me too. And worst case, like if this is a good number, worst case, I can call you when I'm with the tech as well, and like, yeah.
Let me give you my cell phone, James, because this rings through to our company line, and sometimes other people will pick up the number. So that. It's frustrating. So, I mean, you heard the call. There's just no way. I mean, the Carfax is.
I do very desperately. I want a Tesla. I think they're cool as fuck. I would like to have. Maybe I should wait and get a better electric truck. But I think they're cool as fuck. Or even the Cybertruck. I would drive the Cybertruck. But this is scary.
Clean. We would never have purchased the car if it wasn't completely clean. So anyway, I feel bad for our customer because he just got a little.
Sorry, Spicy.
Which is easy to repair, and we were happy to pay for it, and it's turned into this big debacle. So.
Hello, my name's Caitlin. I'm a Tesla advisor.
Hi, Caitlin. How's it going?
Good. How about yourself?
Good. You want me to?
All right, here we go.
Yeah, tell me what's going on.
So, my technician found that there's structural damage to the car and that it has alerts for the high voltage battery that needs to be replaced. So
now they're saying the high voltage battery when it was the low voltage, the 12 volt battery.
Tesla practice is when the car is a salvage title vehicle.
And the car's a salvage title vehicle.
Supercharging gets automatically turned off. Gets reported.
Supercharging's automatically turned off. It gets reported to the system. We don't work on it unless you do these things to make sure it's sound. And charging's turned off.
To the system, if the car got hit hard enough, that's when it also will report in the system. So someone might have not reported this accident, and they probably got it fixed at a different shop, paid out of pocket, and then auctioned it off. I don't know the history of the car, and so that's how it's not showing salvaged on Carfax. But with these cars, since they are computers, it alerted Tesla that it wasn't an accident and a severe one. And so what we have to do is we have to run tests on it to make sure that it's safe for our technicians and the customer to drive. And if it doesn't pass, we sometimes are able to recommend things to fix it, to get it to pass. Other times it just won't pass. And then once it does pass, if you want supercharged.
Yeah, so this person is going to give it back to them. They're going to give it back to the auction they bought it from.
Turn back on, you also have to pay for that.
I know it's not working right now. I tried to get it to, it's not loading.
Because it has harnesses and other items that connect to the charge port. So total for both those inspections, it comes to a little more than $1,600.
$1,600 for 2 inspections.
And then that's just to start with this car, because there's a lot of other stuff that needs to be replaced, like the high voltage battery. So it's going to go over $12,000 easily.
$12,000 to replace the high voltage battery. And this guy was driving it around and his 12-volt battery quit.
So a couple questions. I have the physical title, and the physical title's clean. So it's not possible for somebody to pay cash and not have the title impacted. Also, if it was in a severe accident, there'd be a police report, and there's no police report on the Carfax. So can you give me the date of when your system says it was in an accident?
Can you give me the date of when the system says it was in this horrific accident so I can look it up, police report, something?
No, that's internal knowledge.
Nope.
We're not allowed to release that information. We just see that there is structural damage to it. It won't power on.
Structural damage isn't the same as salvage title, though. That a salvage title is very different potentially than structural damage.
It's now marked in the Tesla system as salvage, and I can't release any information besides what I just released to you.
But I have a physical title that shows clean.
That doesn't make it clean to Tesla standards because of the damage to the car.
So I have a physical title that's clean. That doesn't make it clean in Tesla's eyes, though.
But you won't share that damage. So
I'm not gonna, I can't share times, dates, alerts, all that stuff. That is internal Tesla, and that's, you're welcome to go to Tesla Legal and request that information about that VIN, but we would...
You can see our lawyers.
...not be able to release any further information about the vehicle from this point on.
Now, there's updates to this, so we're going to check them out.
The warning light that was on before was for the 12-volt battery. You say there's a high voltage alert now?
If it says, I don't know, I haven't looked that much. It will say specifically low voltage battery needs to be replaced. If it says electrical system shutting down, sometimes that's related to the 12 volt, but it can also...
Okay, now we might be fixing to play. Let's see.
Moly Mole here. Where's this bloody NDA? Because this prick keeps striking for poses and asking me to smile.
There we go. There we go. Now we're getting impressions.
Moly Mole here. Where's this bloody NDA? Because this prick keeps striking for poses and asking me to smile. Moly
Thank
Mole
you.
Here.
Oh no! Thank you very much for the donation and the impression.
Poses and asking me to smile.
Moly Mole. Thank you very much. I appreciate the donation, and thank God you weren't spicy at Tsuko. That was gonna piss me off. I was ready to be pissed. So pissed. Is this gonna play or no? It says queued. It must keep going down. I don't know what's going on right now with Dono Clip.
We are family. We are family. Even if you're still mad at me.
Oh, that was when you talked shit about my family. I remember. Never mind.
Also have what's called a BMS alert, which is related to the high voltage battery. I would love if it was just a 12-volt battery. That's a 20-minute job on a Tesla, and it would be out of here, and I'd make James Day. I wouldn't have to take away his battery warranty, drive unit warranty, all that stuff.
All the warranties are now void. You can't charge. You can't do anything.
To just randomly take stuff away. That's not.
Tesla can. Tesla's.
You don't get to randomly take away their warranty and their battery warranty and their driving. You can't just randomly take stuff. Yeah, Tesla can, because we said it was salvage title. But I have a clean title, not Tesla clean title.
Welcome to take those warranties away if the vehicle is salvaged, and it is.
No, it's not. I have proof that it's not.
I'm no longer going to continue this discussion, sir. You're welcome to go to TeslaLegal.com from this point.
So I'm going to call a customer.
All right, let's see part 2.
From us. All right, part 2. Here we go. I'm going to call the customer that you heard on call 1 and give them the update that Tesla is actually right, that the car does appear to be in a really bad accident. But I'm going to confirm with him what really matters, that, hey, I'm processing a...
But couldn't they just lie about it? Let's say so I don't know if you guys know this, but in China, where Atsuko's from, they said something. They were in a Chinese electric vehicle. They said something bad about the fucking CCP, and their car locked them in it and called the fucking cops. You guys remember that video? Their car locked them inside and called the cops. So if Tesla's gathering all this data, what if they find out that you don't like Elon, or you don't like this, or you said some shit about that? What do they do next time you bring it in to get service? Because they're the only people that can service it. Next time you bring it in to get service, they just turn the motherfucker off and say, "Oh, it's a salvage title." I don't know if you know this. You bought it used, so, or hell, you bought it new. You didn't tell us about the accident you were in. I wasn't in an accident. Yeah, the computer says you are.
Full refund. We're taking the car back. And I'm going to deal with the headache, and that I'm going to just really try and do right by him, give him a loaner, and see if he wants to still buy a car from us. I mean, I think he will, because we've been stand up about it from the get-go. But I'm not going to pressure him at all. I'm going to just offer to help do whatever. So I'm going to give him a call, and hopefully it goes well.
Hey,
James, what's up, man?
How are you doing, man?
Good. Thanks for calling. Thought I'd touch base with you about the big mess with your car. So good news. I mean, I told you this, right away, that we take care of you. So gonna refund your money. No questions asked. I've started that in process. And the reason for that is because, in talking with Tesla, they actually are right. I mean, the car was in a really bad accident, it seems like. And somebody maybe hit a tree or something, and so it wasn't involved with another car, and they paid cash for it, and it's either that or something worse. And so,
But that whoever repaired it is also liable too. You can't do repairs on a car like that and not report it to the title, especially if it's that bad a damage.
The car inspected nicely, as you know. We couldn't see any structural damage. Drove great, low miles, new model year, clean Carfax, which I've come to learn is not really as valuable as maybe I thought it was. Yeah, man. So anyway, gonna obviously unwind the deal and take care of you totally, and then was gonna give you some options. I mean, you traded in the car with us, and I can't get that back because I sold that to another dealer and it's kind of long gone. But I want to give you, I'll just give you a free Tesla loaner that's as nice or nicer than the car you had, and then either I totally understand if you didn't want to buy a car from us again, but if you did, we'd shop like crazy and find you one that you liked, and triple check to make sure that everything's good.
Working with you guys is awesome, man. Seriously, you guys are taking care of me every step of the way. Genuinely speaking, I love working with you guys, and so yeah, I appreciate you guys doing all this stuff.
You're a good dude. Thank you. I mean, I think we're probably more surprised than you. I was actually really mad. I'm like, they're making a mistake. They're wrong. They can't be right. I've got the Carfax. I've got the title. All this stuff. And
well, even at your defense too, like when I mentioned all that stuff initially, you were like, wait, what? Like, there's no way. Like, we checked the Carfax. We did this. Like, you list out everything that you guys do.
I don't know if you're curious, but what's going to happen next? I'm trying. So I actually don't think that Tesla did anything. I actually don't think anybody did anything wrong. Crazy enough. I don't think Tesla was malicious. I think that gal that we talked to on the phone was not very nice, or that I talked to, the service lady. She wasn't very nice. But other than that, I don't think Tesla knew, or maybe they did, but it didn't get reported. I don't think they were trying to sell a car that they knew they were going to, salvage. I don't think they did.
It seems like if they know that, why wouldn't they just put an alert on the dash that says this car's been in a major accident, it needs to go to a service center immediately, and you couldn't clear it? You know what I'm saying?
And so I've also come to learn that she was using the wrong terminology, because salvage in the outside world means different than internally with Tesla. And so anyhow, I'm going to actually talk to the auction, the ADESA, the auction, here soon, and see if they'll unwind the deal and work with Tesla. And I'm hopeful they will. I mean, it's not your responsibility, but I just thought I'd tell you. So that's my next step is to talk to ADESA and talk to Tesla indirectly and just hope that they come through, because otherwise I got a $21,000 paperweight, man.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, like, if anything, I mean, you guys helped me out 100% of the way. At the end of the day, I just kind of feel bad for you guys, because, like, you guys didn't do anything wrong. You guys have your process of due diligence, and, you know, it's like, well, hey, like, you're, I mean, all things considered.
If it wasn't revealed during the listing of that it had major damage or whatever, he's kind of playing this up, but the auction house would have to take it back. When I was in high school, I worked for the Ford dealership, and one of the big things was going to the auction, driving the cars back instead of getting a car hauler and shit. And there was a lot. I've told you all this before. I drove a Mustang, a brand new fucking Mustang, on a test drive one time, and the motherfucker burnt down on the side of the interstate. Burnt, like, I saw a little bit of smoke come out of the hood, popped the hood latch, and went to open the hood, and just flames erupted. It was brand new from the fucking factory. Of course, you don't pay for shit like that.
It's like how if the SOPs on Tesla's side aren't set up to disclose that kind of thing, it's like, well, that only hurts the middleman. You know what I mean? That you know, and by all means, like I said, you've taken care of me, you know, as the end user, the consumer of it, and I really appreciate that. You guys could have, you know, put me through the ringer, maybe do 1,000 steps, and you guys didn't really at all make me do any of that. So I really appreciate that. Yeah, I just feel bad. I mean, you're right. The situation, it only hurts, you know, kind of the guys in your situation. You know?
He's a cool guy, and I was hoping it'd go well. We tried to do the right thing right out of the gates. So anyhow, that's part 2.
There's a part 3 as well, but I don't know. Is he selling him a new vehicle? If I go back to this search page, I think part 3 is what popped up first.
All right, part 2.
Part 3.
Okay, so part 3 of the saga of the Tesla. Well, it's a happy ending. ADESA, the auction company, I reached out to them. You heard the first call with Tesla that didn't go super great, but in their defense, I don't think they did anything wrong. It's just like I mentioned, the communication wasn't awesome. But since that time, and I really don't think it has anything to do with the attention that the video has gotten, because I've actually been talking to people, just regular folks, explaining what happened, providing documentation, providing details. And Tesla stepped in and said, yeah, that's, you know, wasn't our intention to list a car that had all these problems that we didn't disclose. And ADESA said, yeah, you know, you bought a car that it was not disclosed had these things. And so the awesome news is ADESA and Tesla work together. I talked to them this morning. They're going to take the car back, unwind our deal, refund my money, and they're also going to, you know, credit our shipping and stuff. And so didn't know that was going to happen. Really hoped, but we're the little guy, and it didn't look great at first, to be quite honest. And you know, had no idea these videos were going to go sort of viral, if you will. But I'd like to believe, well, I know that we were going to do the right thing by our customer James, regardless. And I was just hoping that good karma would come around for us, and it did. So we're going to get our money back. Car's going to go back. All's going to be well. Thanks for all the support on this, and we'll post some more stuff and updates for you. But this deal is done. Okay, so part 3.
You know what this tells me? That there's a need in the market for a Tesla or maybe a specialty EV, electric vehicle, Carfax style report. And maybe even, I guess if someone could get into internal Tesla things, or whether it's Tesla itself, to where you can plug up to a car and see if it's ever been in an accident before you buy it, or an auction buys it or lists it or whatever, rather than going to Tesla for all this, because clearly stuff's happening outside Tesla. People are buying used Teslas. That's what this guy does. He only sells electric vehicles, and I'm assuming they're all used, because he's not a dealer for. You can't sell new cars if you're not a dealer for new cars. So tells me there's an opening. Chevy Silverado EV.
New Silverado truck EV. Let's see this bad boy. I want to see the pictures. So how many miles on charge?
About 500.
That's crazy, dude.
500 miles on a charge.
You said this is nice. Like, I thought you said like a base.
It's the work truck, the 4WT.
I mean, that's really nice.
I mean,
it reminds me of the Hummer, kind of.
It's the base model for a work truck.
Backseat.
Yeah.
You really are.
Kind of reminds me of an Avalanche.
Right now, you got 30 amp plus, you got 4110 in the back.
I love that.
Yeah. Run your house on it.
I was watching a guy the other day weld out of his Cybertruck. So he has a farm or whatever, and he was running a MIG welder out of the back of it because it's got a 50 amp 220 plug.
I mean, for a work truck.
Yeah.
And you deck this out. What's the upgraded?
The RST.
Yeah. And that's got the big wheels on it.
Yeah, it comes to 24 standard. So you still got your front.
Huge.
Yeah.
Pretty sweet truck. Impressed. You know this? I should know, but I haven't even looked at. Do you know what this retails for?
About 81.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
So
the RST is about 98.
Yeah. I mean, I guess not for trucks nowadays. Yeah. A new truck.
$80,000 for the work version.
A bit of an avalanche vibe. Yeah, it does. So I mean, I don't love it, but if you like blacked it out, put 24s on and stuff.
Well, the RSC comes stock with 24s on it.
Oh,
yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah,
I still can't get over. You're actually getting 500 bucks.
Yeah, yeah.
Like legit. And it's hot. Summer. You're running AC.
Regen's really, really good.
Yeah, it must. That's really what. How's the self-driving? What do they call it? Ford's Blue Cruise. I can't remember what GM's called.
This doesn't have any the Super Cruise, the GM one, which I heard works really good. This just has lane keep and
smart cruise.
So yeah,
but they all sound so similar. It's like Blue Cruise, Smart Cruise.
So you don't know what you're exactly getting, but
that's cool, man.
Yeah, it's fun.
I like it.
I mean, we took it to Wendover a couple weeks ago and it's doing 90 on the freeway the whole time. I got a little less range, but I went to Vernal last week and coming down out of the mountains of Regen, a ton of miles on the way back. So
do you guys have some of these in your fleet?
Yeah, we do have some. So yeah, these come out. I think we have to keep them for a year though because of the tax deal. So
that's right. You guys get a tax credit too.
Yeah. So
well, when you're ready.
Absolutely, for sure.
See you, man.
Nice to see you, Alex.
See you, man. We're gonna check out the new Silverado.
That's a pretty sweet truck. Not too bad. Not too shabby. There you go. That's what Tesla's doing. I guess we're winding this down. I got some documents I got to go over that Dr. J and I guess Jessa rounded them up. About Trump's ties to Heritage Foundation and Project 2025. How deeply he was ingrained in that, even though he's like, we're very happy with their demise. This retard. I'd like to get his attention once. Slap a shit out of him. Anyways, I got some documents to go over on that. Still got 187 minutes of dereliction. I got some documents of Trump on his way out. Sanctioned Venezuela. He sanctioned Venezuela on his way out of office and granted temporary legal status to Venezuelans, right? And may have actually, so you know how we're having such a problem at the border, and a large portion of those people at the border are Venezuelan. He may have actually created the border crisis on his way out of office and then stood up and had Republicans vote against the bill. By the way, I was arguing with somebody today, and you've seen me argue in the chat. People saying that the reason they didn't vote for the border bill was because of all the hidden stuff. There's so much hidden stuff in bullshit. Bullshit. There was no hidden shit in it, right? Mitch McConnell, who's basically the leader of the Republicans, was advocating for this. He was lobbying for this and telling his people to vote for it until Trump called and told him not to. Now listen to this Republican tell you to his face. The reason they didn't vote for it is because Trump told them not to.
You're not trying to zing your colleagues, but it's your colleagues in your party.
There was nothing hidden in the bill. This is bipartisan. They negotiated what they wanted. Mitch McConnell said, okay, this is a really good bill. We need to get this done. This is something big we can do before we go on vacation, blah, 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 all this stuff. We need to get together and vote on it. He was lobbying for it and telling his people to vote for it until Trump made the phone call. You're fucking lying that there was hidden stuff in the bill. It was stuff they all agreed on already.
Sir, who torpedoed this, who didn't get the facts right on what you just outlined was in that measure. They killed it. Ironically, not Democrats.
Right. It was, and it was painful to be able to watch it. It got stirred up in all the presidential politics, and several of my colleagues started looking for ways. After President Trump said, don't fix anything during the presidential election, it's the single biggest issue during the election.
A lot of my colleagues started looking for things or making up things after President Trump called and said, don't fix anything until after the election. This is the single biggest issue that he's running on.
After President Trump said, don't fix anything during the presidential election, it's the single biggest issue during the election. Don't resolve this. We'll resolve it next year. Quite a few of my colleagues backed up, looked for a reason to be able to shoot against it, and then walked away. I get that. That's a decision everybody makes in it. My issue is if we're pursuing everything, we very often end up with nothing. If we're pursuing someone coming later to fix it, later seems to never come. When we have a moment to fix things, we should fix as many things as we can then come back later and fix the rest.
That's on Donald Trump, Senator.
Again, he's got an office that he's running for. He's got a campaign that he's running.
So that's on Donald Trump, not the Democrats, right? He's got an office he's running for. Who gives a fuck? It's on him.
It's on Donald Trump, Senator.
Again, he's got an office that he's running for. He's got a campaign that he's running. I'm already in office. I've got a responsibility to be able to carry on this.
if the border was such a crisis, if we're being invaded, if it's a fucking war zone, if we're not going to have a country, why would Trump tell people not to vote for the border bill? Even if it wouldn't have been a perfect fix, start fixing it. Get out ahead of it. Do whatever you can. I'll finish it when I get to office. But we got to start doing something today. Because it's not. It's a talking point. That's shown you in the numbers. The Biden administration has deported more people than the Trump administration did. It's because it's a talking point. Is there an issue at the border? Sure. Is it as bad as Trump makes it out to be? No. Because if he really loved America, took a bullet for democracy, is standing up for us, the little guy, then wouldn't he fucking want them fixing the border as quickly as possible? No. We can wait another 10 months. We can actually over a year. We can wait another fucking 14, 18 months. This is what they tell you out loud. Trump said, don't fix. What is he asking secretly not to fix? What is he telling them? Hey, don't do this. Don't make their lives any better. Make them suffer until they either vote for me or whatever. The fuck out of here. We'll leave on this. Trump Tower. The Project 2025 headquarters. I don't know who put this sign up there, but kudos. This is just as equal as a Medal of Honor, and you don't have to get shot for it. Have a good night, comrades. I'm signing off. I'm for socialism, big pharma, and big oil. Notice I didn't say oil. Those are two different things. See you guys. Support the show while we're offline because socialism isn't free. Thank you guys. We'll see you on the next one. Have a good night. Leave a donation or I will haunt you when I die broke.
But I can tell you this about if this douchebag happens to see this particular show, you don't have the fork and balls to call out the people on this planet by name and tell them exactly who they are and tell them the rest of the world who they are. You don't have the fork and balls. You don't have the balls.
Okay, Scott.
Here we go, I think I started some shit. Listen off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Listen off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet.
And they say that I'm a lunatic. Well, listen, bitch, I came equipped with a quick wit and a 6th sense for the stupid shit. Where my true believers? Y'all need Jesus. Praise the Lord, head to the extreme. All these false fucking prophets who profit off of gossip, worshiping Trump's cock and
tell your ultra left commie liberal libtard socialist comrade armada friends that to watch the show, and we have vodka. I don't know what they like.
Told him if he did, he get fucking superpowers. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Listen off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss him off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet.
I used to find clues too when I was high on shrooms. I found myself a tunnel that led to Jason.
Craft beer and hipster beards. We're here.
I found myself in orbit strapped to an F-16.
Happy birthday to Mariah. Today is technically our birthday. It's after midnight.
Saluted the troops.
It's 1 a.m. Happy birthday, Mariah.
Wait.
43
today. Turning 43.
Miles, what are you doing? Stop. Fucking stop. Dude, come on. Seriously. My mom's an alcoholic. Give me a... Oh, my God.
Good night, guys.
Here we go, I think I started some shit. Listen off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit.